Welcome to episode 20 of Petey's Awesome Guest Panel. My guest at this time is, let's just say that she is one of the baddest women in season 3 and 4 of Glow. She is the queen of rock and roll. She goes by Melody, Troubled, Vixen. But my guest at this time is Eileen O'Hara. Eileen, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing so well. And that's, of course, Eileen MTV O'Hara. And thank you so much for having me on your show today. I'm really enthused to see that you've got this wonderful show, and that's awesome. 2 seasons, good for you.
I can't believe I reached episode 20 already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I guess the first question I'm going to go into, before we actually get into questions, so we lost a great little girl this week. We lost the late great Becky, Sally the Farmer's Daughter Mullen, and you've had a great history with her in Glow. I would like to see what you have to say, anything you want to say about the late great Becky Mullen.
Oh yeah, when I first got to Glow and we went through all the training process, she was such this broad, vivacious character, and she just, she really was enthusiastic, and she was my very first singles match. And of course, I was a newbie, but I was really good, so I excelled. So Matt put me in a singles match right away with her. Well, of course, I was not familiar with all the moves. So when she says, "Okay, let's try this," and she goes to throw me for this monkey toss, but she didn't tell me where I needed to put my hands or anything to safely go through the move. So she drove my head into the mat so hard that I saw this little burst of stars. And then when I sat up, I saw these birds chirping around my head, going chirp, chirp, chirp in a circle. They were like pink and blue. And then, after about 10 seconds, they went away. But I still have the bump on my head that she gave me. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. She had a little bit of a lisp. And she said, that sucks. I'm so sorry." I'm like, "It's all right. That's all right. Let's try this again." And we, did a singles match, which you can see on YouTube, and MTV versus Sally the Farmer's Daughter. And she was such a good wrestler, really good wrestler, really good character, always high energy, and was up for anything. She never flinched at anything. One time we had this exercise where you wrestle with a broom, and so that, you wrestle with a broom because that teaches you that all the moves you do, you control. So she would flip and everything, and it was so funny. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I have the footage somewhere, and I'll post it someday, but I have to find it. But she just was that good and that willing to work. And there's a lot of people who could take a page out of her book. And I'm so sorry that she passed from cancer, because there's so much more of her to offer. Well, I know she had children and grandchildren, and I'm just so sorry for their loss. But I really appreciate that I got to work with her, because she was something else.
It's awesome. There's a lot of little girls I wish I could have met too. I met a lot throughout my years of being a Glow fan. I met you. I met a lot of Glow fans and wrestlers. But I always wanted one of those Glow girls that I wish I could have met was Becky Mullen, because I was a big fan of Sally the Farmer's Daughter.
Well, Fiji, your friend Fiji, used to do the funniest impression of her. Fiji would do impressions of all the girls when we were backstage or on a tour bus or something, and she did a really good Sally the Farmer's Daughter. She was so funny. She looked like the people when she was doing the impression. It was pretty funny.
The one match I would love to see though, and unfortunately we never got to see it though, was have a handicap match with, because I believe Trudy and Becky were in the same season at one point, just like Becky was in the same season as Ursula.
Yeah.
And if people don't know, Trudy is Amy the Farmer's Daughter. Ursula is Farmer's Daughter. What I would have loved to see though, in season 2, a handicap match. This would have been a cool match. It would have been Sally and Amy, the Farmer's Daughters, taking on in a handicap match against Matilda Hunt.
Well, and also Sally was in the entire show. You
Yes.
know, like Hollywood was in the entire show. Sally was the only farmer's daughter that was in the entire show. You know, so yeah.
And she was just so fun to watch. I mean, one of my favorite lines, and I say this to this day though, like what when she did a rap, like, and I'm gonna say it like for us on the show, I'm gonna say like, let's come out here to have some fun.
Well, my favorite rap she did was that Godiva. She ain't so tough. She rides around all naked and stuff. She had such a great sense of humor.
I like, my favorite one will always be like, I come out here to have some fun, get my hammerings when I'm done.
Yeah, a lot
Uh,
of fun.
I do want to like and she definitely will sorely be missed though, like because she was definitely a true. She was a glow legend, like all the glow girls. She was a true legend.
Well, and what we did was unique. I mean, we were the first ones to have an all-female wrestling show, and it opened the door for all the women in boxing and wrestling and MMA and all that. And I mean, if I could still do it, I would still get into the ring. I have to get both my knees fixed, and I mean, I've lost 40 pounds. So I'm just a few pounds away from getting my knee surgery scheduled, and I'm looking forward to getting back into sports and maybe do one of those matches where they have the old girls, every now and again. But I just with this pandemic and everything, I'm happy that you're doing well because you're in New York, right?
Well, right now I'm at my summer home in Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay. So have you been there a while or?
Back and forth, I do, yeah.
Yeah, because it was really scary for New York for a while. And it's just, I mean, it's not much fun anywhere else. But, I'm glad you're doing so well and your family is safe and everything. And that's good. But I miss seeing everybody. I miss the conventions. The conventions have all been postponed. And CAC is supposed to be in the end of April, 1st of May, 2021. And I hope that we have, there's a vaccine and things are open again by then, because boy, I miss the conventions and seeing everybody and the events that we did. It's tough.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I do want to ask, like, this is going to be a standard question, but I do want to ask, like, how did you get into acting?
Well, I've been acting all my life. Ever since I knew that it was something people did, I started doing it. I mean, my first play was in, I think, third grade, the school play that I started. And from there, I acted every moment I could. I was the weird kid that would always organize my cousins and try to put on a show with them. And I didn't understand why they didn't understand how to do improvisational dialogue and how to, improvise characters. It just was innate in me somewhere. It was just knowledge that I was born with. I knew how to create a character like that, put a costume together, do a scene. I was directing, and I mean, I'm 7, 8, 9 years old, and I'm trying to direct my cousins in a play, and I get out there, right? I had my sister and brother. They were the camels. My cousin was Cleopatra, and I was the Sheik. And we had the towels for the headdresses. And I'm out there, and I look at my cousin Linda, and I say, "So, Cleopatra, I am going to offer you all this land. How would you like me to do your bidding?" And I look at her, and she looks at me, blink, blink, and I'm like, "Come on!" And I didn't understand. Don't you know how to improvise dialogue and a character? Come on! And so she ran off. And I ran off to try and explain to her, and then by then the camels got frustrated and left. The play was over. That was the end of my 7-year-old directing career. But but it's something that I've always done throughout high school and college. And then when I got to LA, I started going on auditions. And I was always in some acting class or another. I took acting classes at UCLA, and I was just on one of the auditions when I auditioned for Glow. It happened to be one of the auditions going on. Actually, I crashed that audition. I wasn't even there for that. I was there for a seafood broiler commercial audition, and I just crashed the audition because I was familiar with Glow, and I thought, ooh, it's a chance to be a principal player on a television show, the most popular nationwide syndicated show that's on twice a week, and it's a principal role. Okay, I'll give it a shot. So, Matt invited me to come for training, and the rest is history.
I see. Like, because that was going to be my next question too. Like, I was going to ask you to take me to the day of audition when you auditioned for Glow.
Okay, so I walked into the casting office, and what you do is you sign up, on the call sheet for, what you're there for. And it was the seafood broiler audition. You pick up your sides, which are the little pages of dialogue. So you read through your sides, and then I got in there, and I read with different guys that were going to be my husband, and I think the line was, I can't remember, something like, I have that in mind, or something like that. And it was just, I hated that line, but you have to do it like, oh yes, I'll keep that in mind. And so anyway, that was over. And so I looked around to see what other auditions were going on, and I went, Glow. Oh, okay. So I just went over and signed my name on the sheet, because you're supposed to start, your agent is supposed to send you on these things, or you're supposed to, call in and be invited. So I signed my name, and they called me up, and I went in and talked to Matt. And he looked through my portfolio, and, he said, so have you done any athletics? Because I was, an actress from the moment I could speak, probably. But I told him, yeah, I did some athletics, and I had paddled on an outrigger canoe team. And he said, well, you're welcome to come to the auditions. I think you'll get your butt kicked, but you're welcome to come. And I thought, oh, he doesn't know me. And of course, I was a very scrappy little person, and, grew up on a ranch in Nevada, and, I raised horses and wrangled horses, and those are big for a kid, So I was used to facing something that was much bigger than me. And when we started rolling around in the ring and flying around, it was so much fun. I fell in love with it and just wanted to keep going as far as I could. And I guess that's what Matt recognized in me. And I made it through 3 different cuts, because at 2 weeks they cut a bunch of girls. At a month they cut a bunch of girls. At 6 weeks they cut a bunch more girls. And at 2 months, the ones of us who they liked and they kept, they invited us to stay and offered us contracts. So
cool.
that was wonderful.
You had many matches and raps in Glow. In fact, you actually schooled Roxy Astor in one, which I thought was very funny. Now, could you tell maybe your favorite match and your least favorite match you've done in Glow?
Oh my goodness. Probably one of my least favorite matches was with Babe the Farmer's Daughter, because, and I'm telling on her now, we worked with each other because, we tried to work out moves that we could do and that we could, do with our storyline. I'm not saying that it wasn't, I hit you, you punch me, I throw you, and then I throw you out of the ring, then you dive out. It's very physical and very dangerous. And when you work together, you learn each other's moves so that you can, do a successful match without killing yourself or kill the other person. So she would, we have a match, and you have to know where the cameras are, and you're playing to the cameras, right? Well, when it would come time to do the moves, she'd change it, and she'd make it so that she looked good. That's called putting someone over. She didn't want to put anyone else over. She just wanted to always be put over. And that's not fair. You have to, it's a give and take. And especially with the storyline of the match, one person's on top, and then they go down, and the other person's on top, and the other one goes down, and then finally the winner emerges. But matches that I had with her were particularly hard because, I'd go to take her for a move and she wouldn't go. So half the time I'd have to muscle her into a body slam,
But Eileen, is that called no selling?
It's just called not. not wanting to be put over. She just did not want anyone else to be put over. She always wanted to be the one to be put over. And, some people would would comply because, you're there, you're on camera, they're shooting. So you got to do something. You can't just, stand there and go, hey, you're supposed to be doing this. You have to wrestle, and you have to look good because there's audience all around, what happens if you don't look good? They start booing and yelling, bullsh, anyway. So she was a hard person to wrestle, even though I always managed to pull it out of the hat and make it look good. I loved any match with Big Bad Mama, any match with Fiji. Oh my God, Fiji was so great. I loved Loser Does Laundry. That was wonderful. And we, threw soap all over each other. The Caribbean Cruise match was fun. Oh my goodness, the street fight where Babe and Sally are pulling off my nylon. They almost stripped me naked. I had two sets of nylons on, right? And I had this, teddy. I was down to my little teddy, right? And so when they started pulling the nylons, it started pulling that off. I'm grabbing that and holding on and struggling for my life because it's a, family show. It's a PG rated show. You can't be nude in the ring. So that was hard. So they finally got a hold of the top set of nylons, which was the fishnets, the tights, and pulled that off. And I got away from them. But those were some tense moments.
Because like you said, it's a family show and it's PG. That's why you were trying to prevent anything from a wardrobe malfunction, right?
Yes. Oh, and that was not easy because there were two farmers' daughters trying to pull it off. So that was pretty exciting. I loved working with Lightning too. Lightning was just amazing. Good wrestler, good person, and a dear friend. We had a lot of fun together.
Like Eileen, you were one of the top heels in season 3 and 4. Like you were one of the top heels. Like I mean, you even had your own segment. You had the Glow Disco. Woo!
Yeah, that was fun. I'm looking back. When I started seeing the show, I went, "Oh my goodness! I had a really big part on that show, and I really enjoyed it." I mean, we never realized when it was being shot, and because Matt never wanted it to play in Vegas because he didn't want anybody to get a big head and become real difficult. To tell the truth, some of them didn't need even to see the show to be difficult. There were a few that were, most of the girls were awesome and worked together and were very professional. There were one or two that weren't, but, it's like any job. Nobody asked me if I wanted to work with them. They just put you together and you have to work with them. So you have to be professional.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Oh, I just say most of them were. And it was all in all a wonderful experience.
I see. And I got to ask you this too, because in WWE and any wrestling promotion, though, they always you always hear wrestlers saying like, oh, we put together the match. Like, did you ever have that in Glow where like, okay, what would you like to do, Emily? What would you like to do, Lynn? Okay, like you want to do this spot? You want to like, what should we do?
We pretty much got together and we knew each other's strengths and we knew each other's characters. And so, Loser Does Laundry was my idea. The Caribbean Cruise match was my idea. I always wanted to do, because Fiji would go, let's not do anything boring. I don't want to do anything boring or anything that we've done before. Let's just do something better, something where maybe we make a bet and I'm like, oh, how about Loser Does Laundry? The loser of the match has to do the laundry of the other team for a month. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's great. We can bring soap and throw soap on each other. We can bring all our clothes to the ring and I can steal her lava and you work it out like that so that, but I mean, even though you do that, you're still going at each other. You're still beating the hell out of each other, I mean, Fiji picking me up over her head and throwing me out of the ring, that's no joke. We both have to be in control of everything, in control of our faculties, top health, fit, to be able to for her to pick me up, you know, and then throw me, and then I've got to land. I've got to fly and then land without killing myself, you know. So it's highly, highly skilled, and you have to train hard and be disciplined, and no drinking, no drugs, get enough sleep, eat right, you know, conditioned, train all the time. But I loved it. I'd do it again. I'd still be doing it if I could. Really, it's fantastic.
I mean, you know what's some of my favorite moments with MTV though? Like aside from your matches, because I loved your matches, but I definitely loved when you did Life in the Glow House.
Those were fun. Those were fun. Yeah, a little different. That was great because at that time Glow had moved to Oxnard, and we did an episode where it was kind of like a Wizard of Oz. It was the Wizard of Oz, and it was the fairy. What now?
Only time where you were babyface.
Well, I was a tin rocker.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think it's a babyface?
Because when you did the Wizard of Oz, like you were helping a babyface, so in the process you were kind of acting like a babyface, like you were acting like a wrestling face.
Well, you know, a bad guy can turn coat for a little while, but you never want to turn your back on him for too long. Because I definitely, oh my God, when I watch the shows and I see me hopping around and causing trouble, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she was a handful. Myself, Eileen, I'm a kind, considerate, patient. Yeah, I'm even a Reiki practitioner, so I'm a healer, you know. And MTV, loud, obnoxious, cheater, liar, interferes, you know, just rude. And she's so opposite, except for the extrovert. I mean, I love people and I love to talk. So, and I make friends easily. So, I mean, I'd say the chutzpah and you know, the same basic outgoing personality is probably the only thing we share. The rest of her value system is not my value system, but dang, is she fun to play. I love, you know, sometimes when I'm at a gig with Roxy or one of the other girls, you know, we can pop into that so quickly, you know, that little rivalry. We'll be, you know, nice, and then all of a sudden somebody will say something, I'll go, oh, no, you know, and, you know, give me that microphone. And you know, it's fun because we can all pop into those characters just like that because we played them. So we lived them. We didn't just play them. We lived those characters for about a year and a half. So when you live it, you know, it becomes a part of you.
You know what? When you portrayed MTV though, like it reminded me of like the type of villain that you portrayed. It reminded me so much of like, you know, one of my favorite actors, and that's why I can make a comparison between like you and one of my favorite actors, the late great Phil Hartman. And I say that because he always played the seedy, like, you know, inconsiderate villain, and like you did a great job as MTV doing that.
I love Phil Hartman. Thank you. That's quite a compliment. He was amazing. I remember this one scene that the last show that he was on, they were arguing about this one guy had never had a real kiss, and they were saying, oh, that was a real kiss, and well, you need to get kissed by somebody, and he goes, oh, do I have to do everything, and goes over and kisses the guy, you know. And it wasn't like because he liked the guy, it was just like because nobody was taking care of it and he had to go handle it. That was funny. Phil Hartman was something else. Yeah.
He was, and whenever you go, like when you say, like when you were doing the glow disco, like glow disco, it just reminds me of like when you do that, it's like how like Phil would always project himself. Like when he was one of my favorite characters, Troy McClure on The Simpsons, and he would always do like the big boisterous like voice, like it's like, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such education. Lead paint for deadly, and sorry, wrong closet.
Yeah. Well, that's probably why I got the part, is because my background in theater You have to really project. You have to be able to speak so everyone understands you while playing the character, while remember your blocking, while you know where you're supposed to be and remembering all your lines, you know. So being in the ring, you really had to know what your body was doing, where you were supposed to be going, what the other person was doing, where the cameras are, where the audience is. If you have lines to say, you have to say the lines, and you still have to be doing a match. There may be fire in the ring. Somebody may have a chainsaw or an axe or something, or there may be a battle royal where there's 30 other people in that ring, and you have to still know what you're doing, where you're going, how the match is supposed to go, the order people are going out, and you know, keep all that in while entertaining a television audience and a live audience. So it's quite the multitasking, but I love it. I'd do it again if I could. I'd be right there still doing it. You know,
now, I'm sorry?
I would say it's fun.
Now, you did you participated in the 2010 Glow reunion for Emily Dole. I wanted to, you know, get your memories of that day. Take me there.
Oh, it was wonderful because we all knew that she had been told that it was a modeling job, that they were going to go to the hotel to meet the photographer. And so we all knew, and there was people there that I had never met. Like I had never met the Walensky's. I had the Spike and Chainsaw and the Royal Hawaiian. I met a lot of them for the first time there, and got, you know, to reunite with, you know, Lily Crabtree, which is Corporal Kelly, and Jailbait, and I hung out a lot because, you know, she lived, you know, a couple blocks from me. So, but yeah, seeing everyone again was amazing. So we're all in this conference room, right? And waiting, and then the doors open, and there she is, and we all started singing "We're the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, we're all champions in the ring," and she starts, and she's crying, she can barely sing, and she just, you know, it was wonderful to see her again. Hard to see her in a wheelchair, but wonderful to see. Now she got better after that. She got better and rallied for, you know, for a few years. We were able to, you know, go see her and hang out. And then, of course, her condition was a deterioration. So, you know, toward the end, you know, she wasn't able to see anybody. But what a wonderful, beautiful person she always was, you know, and so happy I got to work with her the way that we did, in the spectacular way that we did. And I just always loved that she was up for anything. She wanted to do things. She wanted to, you know, whatever your strengths were, she wanted to play to them, you know. And oh my gosh, when she and Big Bad Mama were in, we were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and we were playing the Lakefront Arena, and part of their match was a slap fight. And so, oh yeah, when those big ladies started slapping each other, you could hear it. Okay, I mean, smack. Well, she accidentally cupped her hand on one of the slaps and caught Big Bad Mama on the ear and broke her eardrum. Ooh. Yeah. So she was out. She had to leave the tour. Big Bad Mama did. And so because that changed our match, now I had to join the, it was Fiji and Zelda versus Beastie, Habana, and me. And I had to run in and steal her lava and all kinds of things. So, I mean, that changed up the match for the rest of the tour. So that was, you know, things happen live. Things happen, you know, and you've got to just, you know, change it up.
What was, you know, Lynn's, like, you know, like, how did, like, backstage, how was Lynn with Emily, though, after the eardrum incidents?
Oh, you know, that's backstage. You know, she didn't mean to do it. It was an accident, and nobody blamed anybody. It's just, you know, this is why wrestling is so difficult, and you have to train. And even if you're two trained professionals, things can happen, you know. You have to, you know, roll with it. And of course she came once her eardrum healed, she was, you know, fine. But that was you know, Fiji had the biggest hands. Her hands were huge. She was just a big girl, big sweetheart, but a force to be reckoned with.
I remember, Eileen, you said in the Glow documentary that you always used to call her Shirley Temple.
Yeah, she was a big Shirley Temple, and she did an impression of Shirley Temple too. She was funny.
Great with these like voice impressions, because I remember it was Mount Miranda where she did tickle 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 tickle. I love that. When she was Mae West, it was awesome.
Yeah, she was a good actress. And when she did the impressions, she looked just like the people. I mean, she really was good. She did great, Mae West.
She was great, and one of my favorite movies. I loved her in Demolition Man.
Oh yes, yeah. But there she is being all bad. She was a bad Fiji, all gussied up. Yeah, that was funny. And that's her brother too, with her.
David.
David is also in Demolition Man. That's her brother David there too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd never see the day where I would see Emily Dole in the same scene with Jesse Ventura.
Yeah. It's pretty funny.
And you know what? I mentioned the 2010 reunion though. Like I remember it's at back in my Brooklyn home, but yeah, I was very close friends with BC, and at that time she made an autograph book for me, and you were one of the people that signed my book, because that was actually when I was nicknamed King Petey. This was a totally different like time. Like I always had the nickname King Petey. I was so grateful. Like you didn't know me like at the time really until like did you like until I called in, because remember Ian, he had the show Cloverleaf Radio.
Oh yeah,
I remember because you were on it. I think Dallas was on it, and Lindsay Hayward, who was, I think she's one of the tallest female wrestlers in the world. She was on that show too. And I just remember, I mean, because that's going back. Did you know we've been friends, Eileen, for 10 years now?
Wow. Boy, time flies, huh?
Yeah. And, I definitely want to talk about too, like, before I get into the Afterglow question, because I have a lot of questions about Afterglow.
Okay.
Your thoughts on the 2012. It was a brief reunion, but it was also really cool, like where they showed it was a documentary screening, and most of the women were there. And I remember because Roxy did a rap on stage, like all of you were on stage, and you were like, "Give me that! You don't know how to rap." And doing to that screening, the 2012 screening.
I'm gonna scoot up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, that was fun. That was fun. I remember that, and Hollywood had a fan who fell in love with her and just told her how much she meant to her, and then came up and got a hug. But yeah, I don't know, I gotta be in my bonnet for something, and I'm like, yeah, because they weren't rapping right. It was what didn't have enough energy or something. I'm like, for God's sakes, we're Glow girls. Come on, bring the energy.
Oh, it was so funny. Like that, he said, "You're like, you don't know how to give me that. You don't know how to rap. You have to have a little bass in your voice. Say it like you mean it, man."
That's right. That's right. Pump it out, baby. Rock it.
Rock it. And that's when the line, "It's Melody Trouble Vixen. These boots were made for walking and stomping."
It's Melody Trouble Vixen talking. These wrestling boots were made for walking. They're gonna stomp all over you. A wop baba looba, a wop bam boom. Something like that.
And then Matilda led everybody into singing the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. I miss hanging out with her too.
What's she doing?
I haven't really talked to anybody since I moved here, because I moved in March, right? It was the day they locked down LA County, the voluntary lockdown, and I had, just all my stuff had gotten packed up in the moving truck, and I left. And, then the pandemic shut everything down. So I really haven't. I talked to her briefly, and she was doing a lot better. She had, the trach out of her throat. I mean, for a while she couldn't even talk. The last time I visited her, she couldn't talk, and she was very frustrated because Daisy and I, we read all the cards to her that people sent, but it was really, that was hard because she couldn't talk. She could only write things down, and we had to guess what she was saying, and then, you know, she was in pain, and that thing down her throat, you know. But she's doing a lot better now. So
Glad to hear that because I have so much respect in the world for Deanna Brewer, like Matilda Hahn. In fact, I'll share something very funny with you. In 2008, because I used to, you know, this is before Facebook was popular with the Glow Girls. Like, you know, I would interact with like Little Egypt, like on YouTube. I would send emails to Hollywood and Deanna. Like, there was one like time I remember, like I did like, kayfabe, right? The
yeah.
word kayfabe.
Oh yeah, of course, I'm a wrestler.
I would like I had my cousin like I was gonna do like this funny thing like it was like a joke project though where I did like a kayfabe promo on like Matilda and I'm at the park, I'm like sitting on the park, I'm challenge her to come back out of retirement like and step in the ring if you're like what Eric Bischoff did with Vince McMahon where he said, you know what, step in the ring, you want to kick my ass, kick it, like, you know, I challenge you to a match, like it, you know, it was kayfabe, it was not real, like it was not a shoot, it was like me like kayfabe and just doing this like promo like in a park, like on a swing set or something, like, and it's just me like talking like, you know what, Matilda, you think you're so bad? Why don't you come out of retirement and face me? Let's have a David versus Goliath match. Let's have a Hercules fight Aladdin.
She would have eaten you alive.
And true, would have snapped me in half, but you know what? I would have loved just the opportunity.
Yeah, she's something else. She is my favorite heel of the Glow Girls in wrestling. I mean, my favorite one to wrestle was Ninochka because she was just so talented. But my favorite heel, just it doesn't get any better than Matilda. She just went for it with everything, and she was, school on how to be a heel.
I mean, I wish you were part of season 1, so that way you could have been part of I Eat Raw Meat with her.
Well, Hollywood and Vine did a good job.
Great job. No, they did a great job. I'm just saying, like, imagine if it was Hollywood, Vine, and you, and Matilda in that I Eat Raw Meat song.
Oh, my gosh. Well, I think that's kind of why Matt put me and Big Bad Mama together, because he needed an opponent for Fiji who could equal Matilda, and I think it took two of us, two of us to do it, because Matilda, just a force of nature, just so much there, and that's how you have to bring it, is just bring all of it, and she brought all of it,
I mean, she wrestled a bear. That's alone says that.
She brought all of it and she threw it at people.
Yeah. Even like the fact that she wrestled a bear, that alone says something.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's when women couldn't get matches. She had to wrestle a bear.
Oh, she's definitely I'll say that. Like Matilda Hun, Emily, and Lynn, and I love Lynn too. She's such a great, I love all three of them. Like Lynn, I remember like she would always like, we always talk like, me and Lynn before her passing, because I was, I was always talk to her daughter, Jerry, too.
Yeah. Jerry's a trip. Little Mama, she is a trip and a half. She's fun. I love her. Yeah, I spoke at Big Bad Mama's funeral, and the thing that amazed me was her pastor and her church had no idea she was a retired pro wrestler. They didn't know she did that. Yeah. Because, yeah, they as me and dementia, pardon me. Grab some water here. Ah, it's so dry and hot here.
But didn't you also have a match? Another one of my close friends too. Like you had a match, at least one match with Nornice, right? Justice.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, I have many matches with Justice, but this one, she looked at me and she said, "So what are we going to do here?" I'm like, "Justice, you're just going to beat the hell out of me." She was so tall. And so, and she did, man. She just bounced me off the ropes. And it was, I'm like, let's just do it. Because, let's face it, I couldn't get away from her. She could reach. Her reach was just, she could get a hold of me. And she was slender and athletic. So
And
that woman, great character, great wrestler.
Right. I mean, like I love work. I mean, I love watching all of you. Like I've been a fan since I was like 17. Like thanks to YouTube, I became a fan. And I remember one of the matches I remember watching. One of the first matches I've seen watching you was the laundry match.
Oh, Loser Does Laundry. Yeah, that was so much fun. It was a good time. I always loved working with the props and having some outlandish scenario that, now you've got, costumes that go beyond your costume and props that go beyond what you usually do. And people aren't expecting it. It's something different, those are my favorite.
Awesome. And I do have some afterglow questions. I want to go through like all three of them right now. Like, what were your memories of doing the first ever afterglow, which was, I believe, it wasn't a cruise at this point. It was on a stage, right?
Acme Theater in Hollywood. Yes. Yeah, that was. Well, we didn't know exactly what to expect because Roxy didn't really tell anyone much, So we just kind of showed up and it was fun, everyone was surprised, just to see it unfold. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Cool.
It was different. But when we girls got together, we all know our characters. We all are all a bunch of characters. So, it's a party. Whenever we get together, it's definitely interesting. It is not boring, and it's a party. So it was fun. I enjoyed it.
I love the afterglow hot seat though, because the first ever inductee in the hot seat was Manuel.
Oh yeah.
The other fans like Adam Soper, the late Mike Conrad, I'm trying to think who else. Robert Wynn
and Robert Wynn, yeah.
I remember like when Adam he was like saying he get to hold your guitar, Elvis, which was cool. Is Elvis here with us today?
Elvis, he's under my bed. I can go get him. You want to see Elvis?
I love to see Elvis. I love the pink.
Hold on, let me go get Elvis. Here we are, the dangerous musical instrument.
That's awesome.
Elvis. All right.
Oh, I love that.
There he is.
Oh, that guitar, Eileen. Elvis.
He's been through it all with me. You know how I got this?
How?
Well, they had this breakaway guitar that I was using. It was styrofoam with a guitar neck. And I'm thinking, I want to hit people with my guitar. I want to be able to do monkey tosses and use it, So I went and when we were doing our first show, it was kind of like a pre-show. We went to Laughlin. Matt just wanted to try out everybody to see how they'd work in matches and everything. And right before we were to report to the ring, we were in Don Laughlin's Riverside Casino, and I just got a feeling about the slot machine. I was playing it, and I just kept winning. So I ended up getting $90, which back then that was quite a bit of money, in the early 80s. $90 don't go so far now, but so I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to a pawn shop because they have guitars. And I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, but this is a child's guitar. It's a smaller, it's a smaller one. And I put Melody, I don't know if you can see it.
Melody Trouble Vixen, MTV.
Yeah, right there. And then I also have MTV plus Elvis.
Awesome.
Yeah. But this is a child's guitar, but I'm short, so it's a Marquee Harmony, and so I got it from the pawn shop and had the props guy paint it pink because I wanted it to go with my costume. So it was a sunburst. I think I did one match with the sunburst paint job on it, and then I said, you know what, it has to be pink. So he painted it pink, and when on the day that we wrapped, and they sent us for our we are on hiatus, so that's how the show ended. We went on hiatus, and we were supposed to come back, and they never called us back, because the show ended. Yeah, it was terrible. But we packed up, and I was taking my guitar with me, and the props guy's like, wait, no, you have to leave that guitar. I'm like, why? He said, because it's property of the show. I'm like, no, it's not. I won the money and I bought the guitar. It's my guitar. He said, well, we must have, done improvements on it. I'm like, well, the paint job, do you want me to scrape off the paint and leave it with you? And I can do that if you'd like. He's like, no, just take it. I'm like, yeah, I will, because it's mine. Nobody gets to take Elvis from me. This is mine forever and ever and ever.
I love that guitar.
Yeah.
With the Afterglow though, like if I I wish I could have got to see Elvis, because I would have said Eileen, you're the queen of rock and roll. You queen of rock and roll. You could I see Elvis?
Yep, here he is. I almost brought him. Before this started, I'm thinking, God, should I bring out Elvis? I thought, nah, but here he is.
I love
my buddy,
Elvis.
my continual partner in the ring.
So cool. But with the Afterglow, the second Afterglow, what were your memories of doing that one? That was the first ever. It was the second Afterglow, but it was the first one at sea.
The first cruise ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there again, we didn't know what to expect. I knew we were going to be, doing shows and entertaining and having events, and then the main event would be the Afterglow fan party on that night. But when my mom and I, Disco Barbie, and I was supposed to have, I was doing the Glow Disco on that one, so we had a Glow Disco night, and so I told my mom, her name is Barbara, she was going to be Disco Barbie. And Sylvester, I wanted him to help. He was going to be Dance Master Sly, so they helped. But when we were first walking up the gangplank onto the ship, we hadn't even got on, I ran into Robert Wen, and he's like, oh my God. And so we hugged, and they took a picture of us right there. So that was like before I even got on the ship, I got to run into Robert Wen and give him a big hug and everything. And then it was so much fun, man. That was a good time. My favorite one was the second one. That one was the one where we met you. Yeah.
The third one was the one with me.
Third?
It was the third. The second one was in Louisiana.
Okay, New Orleans, right? Oh yeah, and the third one was New York.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what? It's hard to keep them straight. The one coming from Louisiana was the worst plane flight I've ever had in my life. You get to the airport, right? And because they had Mardi Gras and the NBA in town, my flight got canceled. So instead of taking an hour, hour or two to fly home, and it took me like 28 hours to get home. And I had to fly all night. And I thought the plane, I sat there for hours, and finally they got a replacement plane, which I think was falling apart as we were flying. It sure sounded like it. I think we were lucky to make it into LA. And then, of course, my bags, I couldn't, once I got, it was like, 22 hours later, I landed in LA. I was up all night, barely made the connection. They said that we could fly into Texas, and they'd put us up overnight. And one guy said, I heard another passenger saying, yeah, that's an option, but they call that Mugsville. We watch people get mugged outside the hotels all the time. I'm like, nope, not staying in Mugsville. I'll get on whatever flight, and I don't care if I have to fly in the bathroom. I want to be on a plane. Strap me to the wing. I don't care. I'm not staying overnight in Mugsville, where they mug people and kill them. That was crazy. That was crazy. But and the third one, getting to New York, they had the bomb cyclone, and they canceled all those flights. I had to just go to the airport and see what they could give me earlier, so I flew all night then too. So we had trouble coming and going, but the Afterglow fan party at sea itself, oh my God, so much fun. I loved, one of the highlights was going to NASA. I had never been to NASA. So the Kennedy Space Center and seeing all that, was wonderful,
Before we talk more about the third Afterglow cruise, I do want to get like your favorite glow activity on the second one and the first one in the itinerary.
Okay, so the second one, I think going to Belize. I love Belize. Belize was so beautiful. I loved doing that. That was on the second one, and we got to cruise on do a river cruise in there in the jungle. That was so beautiful. And snorkeling, we on the second one, we did a snorkel sail, which was wonderful. That was fun. The third one, the Afterglow fan party itself was my favorite one.
Okay.
The second one, we had Joya Bruno, and that was fun. And we had, this was one of the highlights of my life. This is something I'm very, very proud of. When Vanessa Bello, we had their Afterglow prom night, and we crowned her the queen, because that was her first time coming out as Vanessa. And she was so pretty. She had on this beautiful prom dress. And, Roxy said, well, you get to pick the queen, the prom queen. Who is it? I'm it's hands down, it's Vanessa, So we went and got her a little princess crown and put that on her head. And she was so happy. That's something I will treasure for my entire life, was being able to help someone in being who they are, coming into their own and being who they are, and recognizing and celebrating someone for their individuality and their uniqueness. And, transgender people have the hardest time. They have the highest murders in the nation, is a transgender population. And it is so wrong. We need to celebrate people for who they are and who they want to be, not try and push them into being who we decide they should be. Everyone needs to decide who they want to be. And I celebrate that. And I'm proud of that. That was fun. On the third cruise, I loved the Afterglow fan party. That was so much fun. Seeing all you guys get up and doing the competitions and everything, that was great. I enjoyed that a lot. And meeting you and your family. Your family is sweet. That was wonderful.
Thank you. My parents and I loved the cruise, like the Afterglow cruise. We had a blast. Just going to the Manhattan, whether it was going to the Manhattan restaurant or going to Bliss or O'Harrigan. I think it was O'Harrigan's. Like you remember that, right?
The karaoke?
No, no, not the karaoke. It was like a bar and diner type thing. It was O'Hannigan or
Oh,
Flanagan.
oh, on the ship, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah. That was fun.
And here's
I
the thing.
don't remember the names of all. Yeah, I've been on about 10 cruises, so they kind of all, you know, I don't remember the names of the little restaurants they have, but I love cruising. It's to me, it's the funnest way to go.
And there was two times before the actual like official like meeting with the Glow fans and Glow girls. There was two times I actually saw you. Like the first time I saw you, Gremlina, and Alan in customs. Like I was like from a far distance. I saw you like checking in for at customs, like on in the airport, not airport. Pardon me, the port, the dock port. So I saw you, Roxy, Dallas, Gremlina, and I believe Andrea, and were sitting like on the boat when we first got onto the boat. I saw you like all like you were circled around, like you were sitting down. I didn't want to say anything because I was gonna wait until the actual like the meeting, like when we first officiated. But I did spot you
Agree.
guys sitting like you were by the chairs by the window, so you see all the ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, I love cruising. That was cold, man. Woo, that was so cold.
I loved the Afterglow Gong Show. I loved it. I thought
Oh,
it was you.
yeah,
You were out. I was rewatching the video that Willie Fryston recorded, and you looked totally shocked when I got into full Jeannie Robin Williams attire mode.
oh yeah, that was wonderful.
Reactions. I just want to see what was the reaction, and yours was like,
Yeah. Well, just everyone's talent was fantastic. I mean, it was really good to see people, you know, doing things and just getting out there and putting it all out there. That's I like to inspire that. You know, try something, do something different, do something wild, do something crazy. Nothing illegal, but
uh, my parents loved the Afterglow cruise. I loved it, the Afterglow cruise so much too. But I do want to ask, like Eileen, like, were you part of the bar hop that Andrea and Debbie did?
yes, yes. And we were having fun until it scared the staff, you know. And when he came up to me, I mean, he came up to me and said, "We don't do this on this ship. You guys have to stop." And I said, "Yes, sir, we will stop right now." And I turned around, "Okay, we're done." And people were like, "No, we're not." I'm like, "Yes, we are." You see these people? They said we have to stop.
But
What, honey?
Eileen, that was shortly before Gremlina and Robert's wedding vows, right? Renewal,
Their
wedding vows.
their wedding renewal, yes. And it was funny because I mean, of course, I don't mind having a drink, but I usually don't drink to getting drunk. By the time I walked in to Sandy and Alan's ceremony, it all hit me, and I was like, "Dang it, she got me so drunk," and I was scared to speak to anyone because I didn't want to be all slurring my words and acting like, yeah, hi, shy. I'm like, dang, I gotta be, cool. So that was not fun. I don't like getting that drunk.
I, I like Eileen. You remember like it was I don't think did you come with us like me? It was me, Hollywood, Lightning, Debbie, and Andrea. We went to Hanson Beach. Were you part of that or no?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We got that. Yes, yes, yes. Because you borrowed some money from me and paid me back later. Remember to go.
Also, when you and I, just you and I only, where we went to Bahamas, we went to the stores.
Yes, and I bought that beautiful piece of oh, what is that stuff called? It's gorgeous. I just saw a nice piece of that stuff, that gorgeous pendant. When I'm in the Caribbean, I get that. It's because it looks like the ocean. What is that called? I don't know. I can't remember. I was even looking at it today because I live in Utah now, and there's all kinds of beautiful rock shops. Yeah, I moved to Utah, and I love it here. It's my parents live here, and my sister lives here, and it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. I really love where I live, and I was just in some rock shops today and bought a crystal, and they closed the mine, so that stuff is expensive now. It's crazy what they charge for it. I'm glad I got the pieces that I got, because every time I went to the Caribbean, I would buy a piece of this because it looks like the ocean.
Sweet. And I do want to say too, Eileen, and that I loved hanging out with all the Glow girls, but hanging out with you, it was like the Glow nephew. If MTV had a Glow nephew, it would be VH1, and you one thing. Do you know what VH1 stands for?
It
not the actual VH1.
Oh, not the actual VH1. Yeah. What? No. What does it stand for to you?
I mean, if MTV stands for Melody Trouble Vixen, well, VH1 would stand for Villain Host number 1.
Oh, okay, that's you. That's you. Honey, you are the Glow nephew, okay? There's no other Glow nephew. It's you.
But I'm just saying, if each Glow girl had a Glow nephew equivalent, MTV's would be VH1.
Absolutely, Villain Host 1. There he is. I love your long hair. It's awesome.
Thank you. No, but I loved the third cruise. Just got to see you. The only time I ever met a Glow girl was 2012 when Gremlina and Little Egypt, and I got to meet Steve Blantz, very nice guy. I loved Steve Blantz. He jokingly got angry at me because I kept calling him Mr. Blantz, because I was being respectful because I didn't want to call him by his first name, that type of thing. And he was jokingly getting upset. He's like, please stop calling me that. Call me Steve.
Yeah, you sounded like him. Call me Steve. Yeah. He used to call us monsters. You little monsters. You're all a bunch of monsters. And you got to see my movie that I made. That Afterglow movie, remember? Because we had my movie night and we played your tribute to Fiji.
Yes.
Which was really nice, and then my movie. That was fun.
I love that movie.
It was good. Yeah. Little Afterglow documentary.
I hope that we get another chance to see each other again, Eileen, because seeing you was seeing all the Glow girls, it's just anytime I get to see a Glow girl is just awesome, because I've been a fan since 17 and I'm now 30.
Wow. That's a while.
Yeah. And like I said, I'll still never forget the autograph you gave me in the first Glow reunion in 2010.
Aw. Well, it's my pleasure. I really appreciate Glow fans are amazing. I'm just thrilled that anyone is still interested in us and what we're doing. And I heard Carrie Fisher say this about Princess Leia. She said, I'm not Princess Leia, but I've had the opportunity to be her for, 30, 40 years. So she said, I consider myself her custodian. And that's how I feel about MTV too, because there's only one person who's ever played or going to play MTV. In the Netflix Glow show, Melanie Rosen, or Melrose, she's kind of an amalgam of MTV and Hollywood, but she did my sketch. She did a GTV, which was, they had the disco ball and everything. That was their version of the Glow disco. But, no one else has played MTV, and I don't think anyone else is going to. So I am her curator. I am her custodian, and it's an honor to be that, and to whip her out and play her, and play with Elvis, and it's kind of like Princess Leia and her droids. It's an honor, and the Glow fans really, what we do is so different, and it's such a combination of who we are and who we aren't, and this kind of an empowerment to be who you are and just let this exuberance out of you, to let out of you, to celebrate differences and celebrate just being different and being something outrageous, and I love that, and I love the Glow fans, and I love that they're still with us, and we have the new fans, the second and third generation fans now, and with Netflix, fourth generation fans. It's amazing, and I'm very, very grateful for that, and thankful that I get to be the custodian of MTV and be her shepherd and curate her and her memories. That's wonderful.
I love it. I think that's very cool, like that you get to do that. Before we conclude our interview, Eileen, because this is an open forum, you can talk about anything you want. You have the floor right now.
I just want to remind everybody that it's hard right now, and doing something kind for someone and being a kind person and just doing whatever you can to help right now. Remember what the truth is. The truth is that we are all here for each other, and our health and our survival depends on how well we can take responsibility and be there for each other. Wear your mask, wash your hands, social distance, but don't isolate. We have to connect like we are now. You don't know how thrilled I was, to put on the hair and put MTV on a little bit again and hang out with my beloved Elvis and hang out with my beloved Petey, and you are beloved. We love you. But I really think it's so important that we, stay honest. And I know truth can mean different things to different people, but the real truth is we're not going to survive unless we all think about each other and are here for each other. And if that just means wearing a mask and staying home and doing everything you can to help someone who needs it, and I don't mean put your own health at risk. Don't put yourself at risk, or don't put your family at risk, but do what you can. We'll get through it, and we'll get through it together. So that's my message. That's what I want to say, because I think it's important to say. And when you go out to a restaurant, if you do, don't lick the plates. Don't lick your plates. If you want to do that at home as a family activity. And I want to see pictures. if you're going to, I want to see pictures of licking that plate. So be respectful.
Well said, Eileen. Well said. I do want to say, like, I not only want to say thank you for the interview, but I just want to say thank you again. You always have a loyal fan and friend in me. Like when I think of MTV or like Eileen, I just think an awesome person, energetic person too. And if I could change one thing about the Afterglow, what I was on, it would have been to have a karaoke duo with you. That way we could have done.
You know what, honey? The next time we're together and we're near karaoke, what was the song you wanted to sing?
I wanted to sing Elton John's "Don't Go Breaking My Heart."
Oh yeah. Okay. Don't go breaking my heart. Honey, when I get restless.
Baby, you're not that kind.
Ooh, 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 ooh. Nobody knows it. Nobody knows. When I'm down, I was your clown. Ooh, nobody knows it. I give you my heart. Oh, I give you my heart. All right, so we have to sing this. We have to sing this next time we're together and near a karaoke machine. It's you and me, buddy. We have a date.
Eileen, you're the queen of rock and roll. Of course, I would love. I love to sing with you.
Woo! All right, baby. I love you so much, and I love all you fans out there. Thank you for your love and support as always. And I hope to see you all. The only thing that I know that I'm scheduled for is the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion in Las Vegas. And it's at the end of April, beginning of May, and it's scheduled for 2021. But look it up online, the CAC reunion. And, and hopefully there'll be a vaccine and we'll be healthy by then and things will be open and it won't be a dangerous place to go with, 200 other people. So okay. I'm hoping that happens. And if we do, but otherwise, people come visit me. I'm thinking about getting a group chat room together and maybe, doing something regular because, it does. I was expecting that this would be over by now, but it's not. So,
I love that idea though, like do a group chat. Like I love the idea, Eileen.
Yeah. We'll see what I can figure out. Just taking care of the house has been taking most of my time. It's any free time that I have. There's always something that needs to be done. And I was making those stones for my backyard, and gosh, it's gorgeous. I'll be putting up more pictures as it gets further along, but it's a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me, Petey. It's been a pleasure.
And not to sound like, at the risk of sounding like one of the Golden Girls, but thank you for being a friend.
My pleasure, baby. I love you.
Take care, Monty.
Bye.
Auntie Eileen, take care.
Thank you, honey. Bye-bye.